This is episode number 23 of the Riff Tacos podcast. My name is Paul Misko, and today's guest is the lead vocalist of one of the big defining Myspace era bands who are still active to this day. His name is Dennis Lee of Raleigh, North Carolina-based band Alesana. Now, I've always been well aware of them. I've heard their name. I never listened to them a lot back in the day, but obviously I heard their music and know that they're very influential in the scene. They had a huge impact, and to this day, you can hear bands being influenced by them. But I always said the name wrong because the people who I was around who were fans of them said it that way. And so if you're saying Alesana, that is incorrect. I found a video of Dennis and Sean talking about it, and they said they actually have fans tell them that they're wrong, and no, it's Alesana. And they're like, well, pretty sure we named the band, and it's pronounced Alesana. So if you're saying Alesana, stop it because you are wrong. But yeah, they're still active and getting ready to play Welcome to Rockville next week, which is a killer lineup, massive festival. So they'll be there on May 16th down in Daytona. And they have a handful of shows around that, which you can obviously find on their website and Instagram and all that. But they'll be around in Florida, Georgia, South Carolina. Their latest release was actually 2 singles, Madeline and Fits and Starts, back in 2018. So I don't know if we can expect some new material soon. I couldn't find much online, but I did see some whisperings that they were like talking about doing something, at least in the last couple of years. So we'll see what we can find out from him today. I also saw that he is a gamer and a streamer. So I was like, oh yeah, we're definitely going to get along really well. But looking forward to hanging out with him and getting to know him. This is Riff Tacos with Dennis Lee. All right, Mr. Dennis Lee, thank you very much for coming to hang out today.
What's up? Yeah, Paul. Happy to be here, man.
You're down in Raleigh, right? Or in that
I'm
area?
in Winston-Salem. Yeah, the band is based out of Raleigh, but I'm a Winston boy. Grew up down there.
Nice. Yeah, when I was looking at your Instagram before I messaged you to come on, I was like, oh, he's a streamer and a gamer. I was like, we're definitely going to get along really well.
Oh yeah. The streaming's pretty new. We started doing that. One of my the guitarist of our band, Jake, I had been bugging him because he kept talking about doing a podcast where he wanted to just have people on and tell old tour stories that were funny. And I bugged him until he did it. And the deal was that I would pick up streaming again because I started streaming like 8 years ago or something like that. And just didn't stick with it. So I've been on it. It's been a lot of fun, dude. Alesana fans love it. Just coming in. I've been playing Space Marine 2. I play a lot of Magic the Gathering, so I've been playing Arena and
Nice.
Monster Hunter Wilds. Love Monster Hunter.
I never played Monster Hunter. That one's missed me somehow, but
man, I tell the story. I started playing it on PSP because the first time we toured Japan, it's back when nobody had like cell phones that would work there. I didn't have a computer to talk on, but you could get Skype on PSP. So I got PSP, and that's the game I got for it. And I would like call home on my PSP when I could get Wi-Fi. Like, it was crazy.
I remember that my first time overseas, like none of our phones worked. And like we were like begging people if we like stayed at their house or something, like, can I call my girlfriend for like $100?
Yeah. Kids don't know, man. That's back in the day of printing up those MapQuest directions, trying to get around. God almighty. Touring was a lot different in the beginning.
It was. Now I feel really old now. How old are you? I'm 40. I just turned 40 this year.
Okay, see, I'm still spring chicken. I'm 38, closing out 39.
Nice. I know we got our start around the same time.
Yep.
You guys started in, was it 2004?
Yep. And you guys were a little bit. I was a fan of y'all back in high school. So.
And that was probably before I joined the band. If you're talking about From a Second Story Window.
Mm-hmm.
I joined them in 2006, and before that, I was in a grind band called Robinson.
Okay, cool.
So I wasn't around for the EP and Delinda, but I came on when we did our third record, Conversations.
There you go. Well, I like the new song, dude. I was stoked.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, somebody's doing that old. I keep trying to start some kind of side projects that's just that, like early 2000s metalcore. Like I call it Tribunal Records. Like, go to Tribunal, pick up one of those. Like, that's the kind of metal I want to do. So it's tough. Everything's so much different now.
Yeah, I like when we broke up in 2008, and I feel like I was just completely disconnected for a lot of that time. Probably some of that was because I was like bitter and missed it, and like didn't know if that was the right decision to throw in the
Hmm.
towel.
Yeah,
So
for
when I
sure.
came back now, I'm trying to dive back in, like, oh, who's the new big bands, whatever. I'm like, oh wow,
Hmm.
it's totally different now. Like,
It's wild, wild as hell. It's so funny too because my wife listens to so much more metal than I do, and like keeps up with it and stuff. Because I'm like, so I've been listening to a lot of big bands, like lounge singing and shit. Like, she's like, if your fans knew like what you listen to, I'm like, yeah, don't tell
yeah,
them. So,
what do you listen to that they would expect the least, probably?
well, I always say like my number one favorite band of all time is They Might Be Giants, hands down.
Yeah.
Like I grew up listening to them, but right now I'm super into city pop is a genre that's like a Japanese, like it's kind of like late 70s, early 80s, like real chill. There's an artist, Miku Matsubara. She's like the queen of city pop. It's it's kind of got like some ABBA influence and stuff, but
Okay.
it's like the perfect background music. If you put on a city pop playlist, you could clean your house, do anything, and just be in the best mood. And
Yeah.
then yeah, I found a band called 8-Bit Big Band that
Oh,
does like
really?
lounge songs of like all video game shit, and it's hilarious. I've
That's
listened to that. So,
fantastic.
yeah, so that's how I feel. And then I mean, outside of that, I love Sia. I love a lot of like just really Sia, Adele, that kind of stuff. I just like
Yeah,
powerful female vocalists, that really have a set of pipes on them.
I feel that. Yeah, like I don't listen to much metal at all unless I'm like specifically going to check out a band.
Hmm.
I love a lot of classic rock, CCR and shit like
Oh
that.
yeah,
Other than that, it's like podcasts all the time because I'm old and I like listening to people talk.
yeah, for sure. I was just rocking some CCR. I was some CCR and John Denver on my way. I went up to Asheville for the weekend
Fuck
and
yeah,
put me in the mood for it.
that's what's up.
Hmm.
So another thing I said in my intro, so like I've known about you guys forever, but I was never like I never listened to it a ton, and I had friends that were like huge fans, but they always said your band name wrong, and then
Dude, everybody. It's I don't
and
even like, I don't even
yeah,
sweat it.
so I said it wrong all these years, and then
Mhm.
when I was like I always like to do research for the podcast and like learn about the guests, and I was like, am I saying this correctly? Because I'm not sure. And then I found that video of you and Sean talking about how fans will tell you guys are wrong.
Dude, yeah. I think the time I got corrected on stage is still one of my favorite stories. Like, what's up, guys? We're Alesana. Like, it's Alesana. I'm like, fair enough. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go
Yeah.
for it.
And you guys are like, well, we're pretty sure
Yeah.
we know how to pronounce the name of the band that we created. So
Dude, I've got friends, I mean, I've known since high school that say the fucking band name wrong. Like,
yeah,
still, like, it's just, you just get over it. It's a
yeah,
made up word anyway. I say you gotta say it like you're real southern, like Alabama,
yeah.
Alesana. You know,
Alesana.
put
I
that
like that
twang,
better. Yeah,
put that twang on it.
that's great. Band names are. I was just talking about this on the last episode. Like they're the worst fucking thing to try to come up with.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, 100%. I would have called, like I always said, I would have called it the Destroyer Hive. That would have been my band name. But
Yeah,
got all these pop punk kids in the band, Alesana. All right, whatever, bro. It's just no,
uh,
it is. Band names are tricky. And like it's, I was talking on stream the other night with my guitars because our tour manager back in the day started working with Ice Nine Kills. And like way before anybody knew it, I remember he was like, "Yeah, you got to check out this band, Ice Nine Kills." I'm like, "That's the worst fucking band name I've ever heard." Like, and it's just so fucking, they're playing like fucking arenas and stuff now. I'm like, "Oh well, I guess I was wrong on that one, huh?"
dude, I heard that and I had the same thought. I was like, that just does not flow off the tongue at all. It sounds
Mm-mm.
so stupid. So I looked it up. I was like, I have to know what that is because they're so big. And it
Yeah,
was it from a novel or
yeah.
something? And
It's from oh god, I was just, we were just talking about this too. The Cat's Cradle. I think it's
maybe
Cat's
it
Cradle.
sounds familiar.
And
Yeah.
but I mean, they're fucking fantastic too. And it is funny because they do something very like Alisana is all based off of like classic literature and like reinterpreting it into albums, and they do it with like horror movies and stuff. And so they're,
Yeah, the wild live show they have. It's
oh
like,
my god, my wife loves them too. Loves them, loves them.
yeah.
And they've got some like, dude, they have fucking Corpse Grinder on an album. It's because like his daughter's like a huge fan, and that reminds me of, like when we met Dee Snider in Jersey. His daughter's a huge Alesana fan, and he came out to a show, and he told my tour manager I was one of the better live vocalists he'd seen. I was like, that's gonna be like on my tombstone
Yeah,
from
there you
Dee
go.
Snider. Like that, I'll fucking take it.
Fuck yeah, dude. Hey, friends, if you're enjoying the show, I'd love it if you could hit the subscribe button and like the episode on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, please follow the show and leave a quick rating. It really helps me out a lot. And if you know someone who'd enjoy it, please share the episode with them too. Thanks so much. All right, back to it. So how did you get your start as a vocalist? I always like to hear people's kind of like origin story. Like what early influences, like what was the first kind of moment you're like, whoa, like music just like hit me. I got goosebumps. It's going to be a big part of my life, you know?
So I admittedly tell everyone I am not a musician. I'm a performer. I grew up like with a complete visual arts background, but I had a crush on a girl in high school and I couldn't hang out with her at all because all her free time was eaten up by doing the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So I just volunteered to do Riff Raff, like no background whatsoever. Like I just went for it. And so I'm like sitting like in my basement trying to figure out how to do that kind of like raspy, like I remember, like that grab like that. And I'm like down there literally, I was drinking pickle juice, trying to figure out something to like make my throat feel rough. And I accidentally did a low growl. And I was like, huh. I did one low growl. I could do like one syllable. I was like, oh. And it's because I was really into Prayer for Cleansing, if you're familiar, and Undying back in the day. And then the Black Dahlia Murder. Like it was just before Unhallowed, right around Unhallowed. And so I'm like, oh. And then some of my other art friends were in a band. And so we had our high school band where we would just like hang out and play Halo and Red Faction 2 and then like practice like the songs we had. And that was it until so I did do the Riff Raff thing and it was ridiculous because I was like my one and only like thespian experience like that. And then we did the high school band. We played our high school talent show. And I was stoked because all the dudes in Glass Casket went to high school. Like half of them were in our high school and they watched our like awful band set, like stood up and cheered. I was like,
what was your band called?
God, it changed names. God, we changed it like 4 times. I think it was Wake Up You're Dying at one point and Skies Wet Blood. The last one was the Cromwell Initiative, which is like the most legit of them. Then I went to college for product design and material science. And I was like always like a super, like I was in Boy Scouts for 11 years. I was just like a metalhead nerd. We played Warhammer and D&D and like all that through high school. So I was just kind of getting bored. I'm like, oh, I'm going to start like a metal band up here in Raleigh. And right around that time is when Sean, the guy who sings in our band, was a waiter at a restaurant I was eating at and sent my server over to see if I was in a band because I was like total scene kid. Like I had the Chelsea skinny jeans, like bullet belt, the whole nine. And I was like, I used to be in a band, but I can't be in this jazz band. I'm a screamer, you know? And so like I came and did a tryout because he was they weren't thinking about doing screaming, but then he like wanted to check me out, and they were at a limousine car wash. Some drummer they were trying out was like, it's just the weirdest spot. And so I roll in
there.
Yeah, they're trying out the drummer they're looking at. I guess he worked there. So they're there. I bring my high school EP and my like lyrics. I'm like, all right, this is like what I'm saying and everything. And the bass player at the time was like, all right, let's hear it. I'm like, all right. Just like have to just on the spot scream at you. But yeah, after that, we decided to and it was so funny too, because we were like, all right, so it'll be screaming and singing. What's it gonna sound like? And like, so I was like Evergreen Terrace, Atreyu, like I'm just thinking like a handful of bands that were doing it back in the day that like I knew coming from like metalcore and everything. So we just kind of went for it, and we are just like, we'll figure it out as we go. And that was
I could hear a little like From Autumn to Ashes in there too.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, they were big for me back then.
God, that was our first big tour, opening for Haste the Day and From Autumn to Ashes.
Oh,
like a million years ago. That was Melee and the Sons of Disaster. I think we're on that. And what the fuck else was it? The Sleeping.
Oh, okay.
That
I haven't
band
heard
is
about. I
rad.
haven't
Oh
heard
my
that
god,
name in for years.
dude, those
Yeah.
dudes are so rad. They're active again. I saw them not too long
Oh
ago
shit.
up in Pennsylvania.
It seems
Killing it.
like 15 to 20 years is the magic number for
The
everyone to
cycle.
go. Yeah. Like
Exactly.
we turn 40, it's time to get the band back together.
That's it, right?
Yeah. So I saw that you guys you got signed. You were the first band signed to Tragic Hero.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Way
How
back
did that come about?
So it was just so funny because it was Tommy Lacombe, who owns Tragic Hero, originally had a rap label. He's out of Fayetteville, North Carolina, called the Glock Opera, and I guess he wanted to get into like the music scene. We were lucky; we had the brewery in Raleigh, which is like a really like great venue for bringing in touring acts and stuff. So it was him deciding to shift gears a little bit and dip his toe, because that was like, the music scene was still very strong then, and we were just playing constantly and like anything we could get on in Raleigh. So I mean, I swear we were playing 3 times a month, like minimum, at just different venues around Raleigh. So we got a lot of exposure there.
Yeah. So when was that first tour?
Dude, that's a good question. So it wouldn't have been 2004, probably about 2006, 2005, 2006. We did plenty of like tours, just us, like, in the van playing VFW halls. I remember we played at some kid's graduation party in like bumfuck North Carolina, and they were like, "Help yourself to the snacks," and like they didn't realize, we're starving musicians. Just start going
Big
crazy.
mistake.
Like they were like, "Can you take it easy, like on the snacks?" Like, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I saw because Tragic Hero had like back then like Finch, Skylit Drive, He's Legend, and then like Motionless in White. I wrestled a bear once, which I totally forgot. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Iwabo, I love those guys. I still see Ricky from Iwabo regularly whenever we tour through Texas. But yeah, I mean, Tommy did a lot of stuff with the Tragic Hero, and like the Skylit Drive guys, when they were recording their album, were like, so my wife now was like my roommate when I was dating some other girl, like way back in the day. And then I was out on tour, so they all stayed at my house and recorded their like EP. It's just
Sick.
fucking crazy.
So what was I going to ask you before that? Tragic Hero. No, so you guys so you started in 2004, and then by 2005 or 6, you're already on tour. So like things picked up pretty quickly for you guys.
Yeah, everybody was pretty serious about it, and we were like playing, like, because people always ask, like, how do you do it? And I was like, all right, here's how we did it. I call it the spiral. You start with the one venue that you got, your home venue, and you fucking play the shit out of it. And then you'll get asked to play other venues around, and then the city, and then you'll be playing around the state, and then you go around the southeast from where we're, and like you just do it like that. And so we were just playing fucking anything. Like we all lived in I was living in the garage of the band house, like we all pulled together. So everybody was serious about it from the beginning. And then we kept doing that, and then it was the MySpace days, and a promoter in Mexico, asked us, because we had our first song on our first EP, Apologies, hands down our biggest song. And I always laugh about that, because
I saw that's still #1 on your streaming. Yeah,
it's so fucking crazy. It's like, I was 18 when we wrote that. I'm like, imagine writing a poem when you're 18 and then having to stand up and read it for the rest of your life, just like in front of groups of people. But so this guy from Mexico asked us if we would consider playing there, and like we're just like, okay, like nobody else in the scene, probably because they had booking agents and common sense, like would just jump into like a plane and go to Mexico. So we did, and then like we played a pretty big show, and every kid was singing along to Apology, even they don't speak English. And it was like bonkers, and somebody recorded it back when you had to have just like the little fucking camera up, and that's when Fearless Records got interested. As soon as that happened, people were like, oh shit, people got pretty interested, and we took the leap from Tragic Hero onto like Fearless, and then Fearless got us on Warped Tour and all that jazz. So
right. It seems like, everyone who's gotten to a certain level, you have that one moment of kind of like, oh, wow, like shit's catching on. Like we're not just a local band anymore. Would you say that was kind of? Oh,
for sure. That's the moment. Because you go from, it's just a different feeling. And especially international travel is into, like Alesana, I swear, is much more popular outside of the U.S. than we are in the U.S. Oh yeah, and so every time we tour internationally, it's like bonkers, and it's so funny. Like especially because we're all now like half the band is 40. I mean, I'm pretty much 40, and we're like dads and stuff like that. So we've mastered the art of switching gears. You know, there's tour you, and then there's home you, and then you go to like international, and suddenly like you're like everybody thinks you're like really big. Like oh shit, like hey, what's up, y'all? Like
yeah, it's funny because like we started again in 2022, but we didn't play a show till 2023, and we haven't been as active as that. But like you really do feel the difference of like you're at home, and then we get thrown into a weekend, and you're doing Weekend Warrior stuff, and then like just as about you're kind of like 2 days in, you're starting to feel like oh I could keep going. Then it's like time to go home, and it's like time to switch back again.
I could do 2 weeks. I could like 3 weeks if I have to, but these days like nah, man. Like the idea of like because we used to tour like 300 days out of the year. It's fucking crazy.
It's
and
a
like
young man's game.
It is a young man's game. And by the end of a couple weeks, I'm so over it. Like I want to see my kid. My body hurts. Like and I mean, obviously it's super fun, and everybody would just do it forever if they could. But like at a certain point, like no, I go for a couple weeks, then home for a few months, and that's the good thing about us being on. So now our guitarist Sean has Revival Recordings, which is his label. We do everything through that, so we don't have any pressure from an actual label to like tour. So
nice.
We pretty much like we do festivals, fun international stuff, and then like a couple of U.S. tours that are short, and we just go out and hit the West Coast and come back, and then do Texas, all that jazz, come back.
It's nice to be able to like just choose what you want to do with zero pressure, and then it is still fun.
Exactly. And as long as everybody likes each other, you can do that for as long as you want to.
And that's hard. A lot of bands have so many problems with that. Our drummer, when he was on here, he said something that like was a big realization to me of like, what are the odds that the five of us at that time in our lives were all in at the same time? Everyone was like dedicated to their instrument, wanted to do nothing else but this, wasn't a piece of shit. It's just a lot of factors that everyone has to align on.
It really is. And that's the thing. Like, I'm like, you guys been together for 20 years? I'm like, yeah, we all like each other. Like we could be in a confined space for an extended period of time. And it is because it's just like, we're literally just like brothers. Like we fuck around like that. I said like, cause we've lived together. And I was like, the secret is that we have the opposite of passive aggression. We have hyper aggression. Like when we were roommates, like somebody wouldn't do their dishes, like they would wake up with their fucking dishes in their bed with them. Like what the fuck? Like no, fuck you. Like you just
in many ways, that's better.
Because you resolve it very quickly.
The passive builds up over time. It's the little snarky remarks and looks and things like that. Then it explodes later.
No, you can't survive on tour like that. You just gotta address it head on, get it over with.
Yeah. And back to the Myspace days. So my first band, Robinson, we booked our own tours there because we couldn't get a booking agent to work with us yet. And like, did you guys start that way? Like just throwing dates out there and being like, book us and we'll fill it in.
100%. It was pure volume in Myspace and just like talking to people around town, like getting on shows. It was always like if any band close to our genre. We fucking opened for H2O. Like back. Yeah, it was so funny because it's like a real ass fucking hardcore band, and we're just open up like fuck it, here we go, and like it went surprisingly well, and those guys were really nice. I was expecting the fans to just completely turn their backs, but we used to just anything we could get on, we would fucking do it. So we'd show up.
We would do the same thing, and to our detriment too. Like just say yes to everything, and then all of a sudden you're halfway through a month-long tour, and you're like, these crowds are not into us, and this is not fun at all.
Yeah. It is one of those things. It's tough to read. Some bills are just a little too mixed up, but I feel like kids are more eclectic now. Back in the day, they weren't. It was like, this is what I listen to. Like I don't listen to pussy shit. Like
no
I listen to
cleans, bro.
Yeah, exactly, and. It's so funny because I used to laugh too because kids are like put more breakdowns in. I'm like, sorry, man, we're just like playing the song or whatever, like the actual song for the fucking breakdown. But that's honestly like when I decided to start Alesana and like join that, it was because I'm like clearly a metal vocalist, but metal had really started kind of the breakdown arms race of like everyone just trying to like how many more slower, crazier breakdowns. I was like, that's not really what I'm into metal for. Because I'm into like real like flowery, like I was into like early Between the Buried Me and Prayer for Cleansing, and this real flowery kind of like that was my kind of metal. So I was like, we'll try something different.
Yeah, I was never really into like straight up metal. I always like some melody in there, get weird with it, and because like after that kind of shit blew up, like you were saying, like everyone was like breakdowns. My first band, Robinson, we were like, all right, we're just gonna do zero breakdowns now and just do all blast beats,
dude. Yes, that's how Black Dahlia Murder didn't have a fucking breakdown in anything.
Yeah, and they've stuck to that to this day.
I love it. That and then who was it? A Life Once Lost. Their that old album, Open Your Mouth, The Speechless. They're like super old. It's like super artsy and shit. They say they won't play that shit live. It's like says
really?
They re-release it. They're like, these are songs of the past. We will not play them live. But I loved that fucking album.
Yeah, those dudes were awesome. We got to tour with them once. I watched them every night.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Fantastic group.
So I'd like to get into your writing process a little bit and then how you go about that. Cause you said you weren't a musician. Nope. But, so you kind of got into this, not on accident, but, you clearly had a passion for music.
100% stumbled into it. But yeah, it was one of those things where I had a passion and like, I tried to play a couple different instruments. Like I played cello when I was in like early high school. I tried to play bass. I sucked. Like that was it. So when I found I could scream, and I was like, oh sweet, like because I was already going to shows every weekend. Like I said, I had like a really tight group of like nerd friends that we would go to like our local game store, play like like I said, Warhammer 40,000, which is like you build the miniatures, you paint the miniatures, you're rolling dice. Like
that's hardcore.
Oh yeah, and so I was that kind of nerd. So when I got into the band, I loved the Black Dahlia Murder and Prayer for Cleansing, mostly because of how good the lyrics were. And like the way they would scream and have the high and the low. So I started and I could only low growl. And I like taught myself how to do the high scream too. But I was big time reader, and I already read a lot like poetry when I was younger and stuff. So lyrics like happened pretty naturally for me.
Yeah.
And it's just adding in like the scream. I did laugh. My dad, I mean, it had to have been after I'd been in the band for like 10 years, came out and saw like a show, and he was like, boy, you can sing though, right? I'm like, no. Like, he's like, what? You're the vocals of the band. They pay you. You can't even sing. I'm like, I know, it's crazy, right? so it's wild.
Well, what was your secret to figuring out the highs? Because like I've never been a vocalist. I did a solo EP where I did it myself, but I always could do like the mid range yell, kind of like the Every Time I Die or like the Ollie Sykes yell, type thing. But like I could never figure it out.
And the way I scream, it's so funny now because everybody knows so much more about screaming, and like I just did it. I just taught myself. And they're like, do you use like false chord or like fry scream? I'm like, I don't know what that means. So I always describe it as a car noise. And like, that is what I'm doing. I'm making a car noise, but I'm making it really, really fast. Yeah. And so you're like, if you can feel where it is in your throat and then you can move it up and down. And that's how it was. It was just keep trying to find where the top of the range is. And that's literally how I did it. And one of my buddies sent me a really interesting article because I guess some doctor finally was like, how do metal vocalists do this every night and not obliterate their throat? So they're sending, a camera down the metal vocalist throat, and said it turns out that these extreme vocalists have the same ability that babies do. And most people just lose it. That when babies cry, their vocal cords don't touch. Oh. And normal people, when you scream, your vocal cords are going to slap each other and like wear them out. But metal vocalists, it doesn't happen. They stay separate. Yeah. So that's why they're able to do it and then do it the next night and do the next night. So it's baby power. We're just big babies.
I never knew that.
Yeah, it's good.
I think I've seen that channel before. The dude from Lorna Shore did it too.
Yeah, and that was the one my wife loves Lorna Shore, and she's apparently that dude's vocal cords are like twisted or something. Like he has like a genetic like abnormality that is why he can do the fucking craziest screams. Like,
yeah, when I really heard that, I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Exactly. Keep on keeping on, brother.
back to what you said about like someone asking you like your technique and stuff. Like, I totally get it because I'll get asked things that like, when you play this type of chord and they have a name for it, and I'm like, there wasn't a name back in the day. Like we just made shit up, and like now there's all these like techniques and like how do you do this? And it's like I don't know. There was no formula. It's just like, shut up and do it.
Exactly. That's I mean, these damn kids, they're so good. Like you hear like everyone in these bands are like, these are all fucking shredders, just going like fucking bananas.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, dude. Every like metal band comes out, like the screamers are fucking bonkers. I can't do that, man. Like you just gotta. I stick to the ancient ways.
Yeah. Well, I also like, there's a point where to me, it's just like, it's getting too much. And it's like, it used to be you got up there and screamed because you had something to yell about or you're pissed about it and you're just yelling and you're not really trying like a technique. It's like, it gets too nerdy for me. And I'm like, you're losing the kind of like the feel of
exactly. That's what I love. Like, I still love albums where you can like hear people breathing and like little fucking fuck ups. And like, if it sounds like less like every snare hit was replaced, like the more I'm probably gonna like that. And that's what I like. So I've gotten like, I've been into the screen printing and merch world side of things for like over a decade now. I think it's funny because I didn't realize that Gorilla Joe was like Joe.
Oh,
like I put it together. I'm like, oh shit. Like, but for part of my career, I worked for Holy Mountain Printing, which is like an exclusively like black metal and like metal like merch company. And sick. Listening to this bands, and I just laugh, like it's not actual black metal unless it sounds like one fucking mic set up in the middle of a room and taped recorded on a cassette. And I kind of like, I just really started to appreciate it because it's like so poorly produced, and like that's like the beauty of it. That's the thing. Like,
right. What was your first recording experience like?
My very first was my high school band CP, which was literally like a mic in a room. And I can't remember what they called it. It was like electromagnetic radiation recording. I'm like, tape deck. So on tapes is what that is. And then after that, we did some recording in Raleigh with like Tragic Hero. I had like a studio, and it was fantastic. It was fun. Our first like crazy one was when we did what album was it? Where Myth Fades to Legend, which was our second one with Fearless Records, and we went out to like outside of LA, and we were like there for a few weeks, like a couple of months doing pre-pro and recording, and it was wild, especially we're from like North Carolina. We're East Coast kids. It's a very different vibe in the music world. And that's when I learned I fucking hate LA. Just like going out. And I stopped telling people I was in a band. Because they'd be like, I hear your southern drawl. Like, what are you here for? I'm like, I'm in a band. And then like, boom, my cousin who like everyone's like just their network. I'm like, I'm just trying to get drunk.
It really is like that. Like for anyone who's never been there or lived there, like it really is like it is on TV. Like it's fucking stupid.
It's wild. The shows are fantastic, but God almighty, like I personally could live there. But I'm like, I'm a little country boy. Like I just grew up like outside Winston-Salem. Okay, we've got Krispy Kreme donuts, Texas Pete hot sauce. You're welcome, and fucking cigarettes. Like people don't like. We have RJR High School. There in our hospital. There's a giant statue of fucking RJR. RJR is the company that makes like Camel cigarettes and half the fucking cigarettes you see in America. And it's just so funny. Because that's like
Texas
normal here.
Wait, what was the hot sauce you said?
Texas Pete, yeah.
Texas Pete?
Not from Texas, from Winston-Salem.
I did not know that.
You're welcome.
I love that hot sauce. I
love a good
donuts. Like, cheap, simple hot sauce. What's up? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's the good stuff.
Yeah. So what, like, as far as recording, like you said, you have the way of like going and living there for like a month, and you can take your time and do pre-production. For your personal process, is it like, do you prefer that, or do you prefer like, let's just get in there and like bang it out in a weekend?
No. I like, everybody needs to be together, and like, I want the guys to like work out where they want to go with the songs. And like, I always said, like me lyrically, like I'm not trying, like I'll have kind of like a vague idea of like what I want to do, but I have to hear the music. And I always say the music should tell you what the lyrics are. Like you hear it and like, okay, this is the vibe. And then we're very like, we do a concept record. So you need to know the story arc of like the beginning, the crescendo, and then the end of the album. So you're kind of in your mind being like, okay, this fits this part of the story, this part, and from there, I'm just like writing down ideas and like old school, because that's one of the things from my visual art background is I used to keep a sketchbook, and a good sketchbook isn't just drawings. It's like you cut stuff out of magazines and you see like, I just like this about it. And then you write like what you like about it. So it's kind of like, okay, like this is where I'm thinking lyrically we should be like exploring this part of the story and everything. So that's kind of how I say. And after you do that, you go in much more prepared.
Right. Yeah, I like somewhere in the middle, because I find like I'm a perfectionist and I'll overwork something to death. And if I have unlimited free time, it's kind of like I need kind of somewhat of a deadline, because I'll sit there and play and play it and play it and go, oh, let me try this, try that. And it's like at some point you just have to go, that's fucking it. It's done.
For sure. That's what they say, the hardest thing about a great painter knows when to put the brush down and just be done with it. Like, because you can't fuck around with it. And for sure. Like keeping that structure. And I'm the same way, like with like poetry and stuff. I was always a sonnet. Like I like having like knowing how I'm plugging stuff in, like a structure to it, not completely free form. So I feel you.
Right. So when you guys write as a group, when you're like starting something new, is there like kind of a main songwriter or a couple songwriters that start with something and then you work together, or is it always a group effort?
Yeah, for sure. Like you'll have Sean and Pat, who are the two like OG. Like they both lived in Maryland and then moved to Raleigh because of the music scene, and we're starting a band, and then they met me, and that was like the beginning. Like definitely the guitar guys, but we'll work on it. But now we've got like Jake and everybody, so they're included, and then we'll work out drums and bass and all that shit. I stay out of it. I don't say fucking anything about like the music side. I'm like, real talk, like you guys just do your thing. Like, I mean, I don't know if I've ever really chimed in, but like, nope. So I let them do their thing, and then like lyrically, I work with Sean, the singer, and we're very good writing partners, because you're able to sit, like we talk about where we want the story to go. I'm like, okay, so like when we write, especially when you're writing concept albums, like your choruses are where you're getting across what the emotional value of this part of the story is. Like this is what that song's about. Then your verses are where you're pushing the plot. And so you have to like make sure it's kind of like able to swing back and forth like that. And when you're getting like burnout, and you'll write some lyric that's not really good enough, but it kind of fits. And you're like, all right. And it's good to have another person be like, you could do fucking better than that, because that's like lazy, or like we said that in another album, and so like fuck, like all right. So having the checks and balances really helps the lyrics come out as good as they can in the end of the.
Right. Yeah. It's also like if you've been doing it for albums and albums and years, it's easy to repeat yourself on accident.
100%. I keep a word file with all of our lyrics. When I'm like writing something, I'm like, okay, just search for this word. Like, how many fucking times have I said like or used this like metaphor? Because it's bound to happen. Especially when you're writing over the span of like decades. Like, you forget. 100% you forget.
Especially because like you guys did a trilogy with albums, right?
Yep.
So to keep that story going the whole time, you're talking about some of the same things you could easily repeat.
100%. And knowing when to have a callback or an allusion to something in another album, and doing it intentionally is like important, and knowing not to repeat yourself. So
yeah,
exactly.
I love what you said though about the choruses and verses and how you apply that. Like, I think that's really smart.
Yeah,
to think that way.
And that's what, like, like I said, like I like to have the pattern, and then like we go in and like Bill, it makes it would be fucking impossible if we didn't have like some kind of like recipe for it, especially to carry that storyline for that long.
And back to what you said about like a screamer is kind of like a rapper. Like, I feel like that same way for me as a guitarist, because like I have good natural rhythm. That's all I got. Yeah. So melody to me, I have to like really try hard and go just one fret at a time, like figuring out what it is. So like 100%. I'm a good rhythm guitarist, and I can like lay out drums for demos, and like, but when it comes to melodies, like I just feel like brain dead.
Yep, 100%. It's for me, it's just cool patterns, and just being able to follow. So that is the parallel between hip hop it's just being able to like have that cool flow and everything. Like that's
Yeah, you're a
exactly what you're doing.
percussionist with your voice.
Exactly.
That's really cool. But yeah, I wanted to talk about that trilogy more and how like that idea kind of came up, and like to plan that out over that many years is really impressive. And I love the dedication to that because I always love concept albums, and
Oh yeah.
each one specifically, like individually, I love when it's all cohesive because it's like it's a part of your life. You know what was going on then. You can look back to that, but to do that over multiple records is really cool.
Oh yeah. It was. I mean, and so like you can, as you go through our catalog, like you can see the progression of like the first album. It's just a regular album about whatever, but has a poetic flair to it. And then the next one, so let's say that was our EP, and then our first album, On Frail Wings of Vanity and Wax, has more of a like a lot of this is about Greek mythology. It's not all tied together, but it's like, and there's some exceptions, but I'd say a good half the songs have like Greek myth origins. And then I remember we were working on the next record. My mom's like you should look at the old Brothers Grimm fairy tales, like because they're actually pretty crazy. And so I looked at it, I was like, oh shit, mom wasn't kidding. So all the songs are like about this one thing, which is Brothers Grimm fairy tales. And then the emptiness, we're like, okay, let's take it to the next step. And it was, just meant to be an expanding on one poem by Edgar Allan Poe about Annabel Lee, which is like one of my favorites forever. And like I'm a huge Edgar Allan Poe guy since I was in like middle school. I'm like, I could definitely write like this, and so let's just flesh out this character into her old like album and stuff. I always think that female driven storylines are much more interesting, and it is funny too because I've realized like as I went like we've done the trilogy tour over the last handful of years, but we did 1 year, we did each album, and I realized like man, we like really had no qualms about like singing and screaming from the perspective of a woman like this entire time. Like we were ahead of our times, like wildly ahead of our times. And then after that, we're like, okay, we wrapped that album up and it's time to work on the next one. And we're like, okay, let's do Dante's Inferno, where we're working on ideas. And then it was just that one moment where Shauna was like, what if it was, the night before everything happened and that, and you get the goosebumps. I'm like, all right, baby, let's do it. And like we looped it in, and then it's got to be a trilogy at that point. All great stories that you got to have the 1, 2, 3. So
that's really cool.
So we done, but it was a blast. And like, it's crazy the impact it's had, obviously. Like, like I said, like I'm just like a nerdy metal kid. And being able to meet like so many people like who are the same as like every one of us, like in high school, like you don't fucking know who you are. Like, and if you're in like the music scene wearing black, like there's just a lot of like emotion. And if you're an artist, like depression and shit like that. And like I was going through a really hard time, like your music got me through it. Like it's the hugest compliment that you can get, and you cannot let yourself get jaded to that. Like you need to like really remember when you were fucking there, and like that, like for me, like listen to like fucking Slipnot, like when I'm a freshman in high school, like I don't fucking understand like all these like massive changes, and like what got me through that, and remember like that's you talking to you, and remember that. So
yeah,
I'm just amazed. Like I'm glad it had that impact. I've had a lot of people tell me that because of it, they've gone and read the original works that all these were based on. I'm like, yes, that's part of like that was part of the trick, is like trying to get kids to like actually read like these incredible bodies of work. So like I read Dante's Inferno and like the entire Divine Comedy. I'm like, gotcha. Like it's sweet,
that's
right?
Amazing,
like,
dude. Yeah, like that's some serious influence to have on someone to now I want to go check out this other piece of work that inspired one of my favorite bands. That's amazing.
Exactly. So and then they come back to the album, you see all like the Easter eggs in it, because there's always tons. Like we try to do it. So we've managed to force reading upon scene kids, which is our greatest triumph.
I'm bad at reading myself, so that I need the same thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it's one of those too, like especially kind of like our genre. It's definitely a mix of bands like us that have like a little more world building or a little bit deeper, and then like real sort of surface level, just like nothing. There's nothing against that, but you're more of like the fucking party band, like everything. So
yeah,
and just talking about breakups and shit. And I've always like there is definitely a subsection that really wants that thing they could sink their teeth into and go deeper under every fucking layer. And like we ended up writing a book to encompass the 3 albums.
I saw that. I was going to ask.
Because we had released like prose versions of the albums with the album. So it's kind of the storyline, like if you weren't picking it all up in the lyrics, because there's no way you could convey like a story that big, like only in song. So we had the written version of it too, which is actually because Fear Factory's Obsolete, they did that. And I loved that fucking album. That's a full concept.
They wrote a book?
There was prose, like there was a written part of that album.
Oh.
And so it kind of like filled in the gaps. And so I was like, we should do that. And then after like, all right, let's just write the book version for kids who are looking for that.
Right.
So yeah, it's all there, man. You can really go fucking nuts with it. So,
no, dude, that's really cool. Like how many bands have done that? That's really smart. And it shows, how passionate about art, or how passionate you are about the art you're creating, how dedicated you are to it. Like that's really respectable. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Back to Slipknot, they were one of the defining bands for me. I remember walking into Hot Topic when I was 15 or 16. They had the old, CD thing you could put on the headphones and press the button and listen. And I saw that record sitting in there with like the dudes in jumpsuits and the masks. And I was like, this is fucking terrifying. What is this? Yeah. Put it on, listen to the intro, and then Sick starts and those drums and everything. I was like mind blown. Never the same again.
Exactly. Because it was definitely like I was already like I liked Korn before that, and this is just like that progression of like crazy. I got that fucking jumpsuit, that orange jumpsuit that was like $100. That was like all I wanted for my fucking birthday. I used to wear a gas mask and that shit into fucking school, and they were like until the teacher told me to take it off, and I'm like all fucking lock and chain necklace. Like I was that fucking little fucking new metal kid. And it's so funny too, because so many of my fucking friends picked on me because like I ended up getting into like the local metal community, which is just turned their nose up at Slipknot. I'm like, no, dude, Slipknot rules. And now here we are 20 years later, and everyone's just so like, oh, I love Slipknot. I'm like, no, you fucking don't. Okay. Like you weren't there. I went by myself to see Slipknot and Fear Factory when they played like in Winston-Salem, and I had so much fun. But
would you say self-titled or Iowa?
I'm self-titled. I love Iowa. Iowa's great. I didn't like it probably is a better album, but it doesn't have as much impact on me as like the first album. And like aesthetically, and I had the fucking the VHS they had, Welcome to the Neighborhood. Like they had and I would watch that over and over, like for sure, like impact wise. And I can't remember. I had the version of the CD before they had to pull that one track and like swap it out because there were two versions.
Was it? Which one did they pull out? Was it Purity?
I thought it was Eeyore or Purity, or like, and it got swapped for something else. And I had like the OG version back when you had like everybody had CD binders they were super proud of. And you're like,
I still have mine in my like memory bin of like all the old shit. It's like exactly how it was in my car, like,
organized by genre or alphabetically, and then like top. No, mine got stolen on my fucking car. And it's like always that was the worst thing that could fucking happen to you back in the day. Is somebody got your CD binder because it's over. Like there's treasures in there.
We're spoiled now with streaming, and it makes it less meaningful because you have everything at your fingertips. And
that's it. Well, that's why I always say I laugh when people argue, like complain, like so and so is charging this much to come see them live. I'm like, well, they're not making any fucking money off their albums, are they? Like you don't have to go see them live. Like I don't give a shit. Charge everybody $1,000. Fuck you. Just fucking stream all the music. Like it's the only way we make money, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I was big into Korn and Deftones, and I think what was missing was Slipknot was the speed and aggression.
Oh yeah,
and combining all those three is kind of like still to this day like what I try to emulate in my writing.
Yeah, like for sure. And Slipknot had their own like hit parader might as well be called Slipknot Monthly. Like I remember seeing those every time you go to see, and apparently they got in trouble for like just making up interviews at a certain point where they would just say like. It was just a Slipknot magazine at that point.
Slipknot Monthly.
Oh my god! I actually recently went and saw Megadeth play, and they had Mudvayne on tour with them, and
Oh
I got to see
shit.
Mudvayne live for the first time. I remember that Slipnot had started their own label, and Mudvayne was the first band. I just thought it was so fucking cool. Like,
Oh
they were
yeah.
they were sick, dude. That bass player is still out of this world.
Oh yeah. His bass tone was so fucking
Oh
weird
yeah.
and cool. Like, what was that first record? LD
Mm-hmm.
50,
50
right?
LD50, and he's got his own project, which is uh, soften the glare. Is like his like kind of proggy, like that's fantastic. But
Yeah,
it's
I was gonna
just
say it had to be prog,
instrumental.
right?
Oh,
With his
he,
style.
he is just. It was literally just him on stage in a fucking pair of Jinkos and no
Oh,
shirt, just going crazy, like out of a fucking time machine, and it was
fuck yeah.
amazing.
That's awesome.
It was
So,
fucking great.
so you guys did Warp Tour
Yep,
multiple years, right?
yep.
Now I was looking, it said 2006, but did you just do one date that year?
We did half of the tour, so we
Okay.
did like I can't remember which side of it. We just did it in a fucking van,
Right.
and yeah, so we just did half the tour that year.
So all the rest of the years, like how was that experience like being on a festival tour like that? I've never had that experience.
It's wild, man, and it was a young man's game. It was a lot of fun, and I it's funny to me now. Like I'm almost 9 years sober, and back in that, I mean, just drunk as fuck, like
Oh
all the
yeah.
like, and the Warp Tour is just wild because they randomly make the schedule randomly, except for like the real big acts every day. So you could be playing at like fucking 10 a.m. just
Yeah.
like out up there and just going. So it's so much work and logistically just a fascinating thing. Like
Yeah.
to see all the stages get packed up. You get a lot of respect for like all the dudes working behind the scenes
Yeah, to
that
make
are
that
able to
happen.
exactly. And because I know that they had some kind of Warp Tour show or something that had Kenny, like long hair, like white hair and beard. Kenny Leith, I believe. And he was our stage manager. He was fantastic. It was just so funny because I'd roll up there like drunk. He's like, "You can do fucking better. like you could do so much better." Oh, sorry, Kenny. Uh, but it was just a trial by fire. Like you really have to have your shit together. Like get on stage, get off stage. It's like real good drilling for being a professional touring musician. And
Right.
like, all right, you got this much time to like check all your gear, make sure it's working, and then you got interviews, then you have a meet and greet and everything. So it's wild. It was a lot of fun. Logistically crazy and not surprising that it was not going to last forever. As like the cost of everything skyrocketed, like
Right.
just fucking crazy. It was a
How
behemoth.
how long was each tour?
I feel like it. I'm gonna get that completely wrong. I feel like it was a couple months. It might have been like a month and a half. It felt long as fuck, like forever. I remember too the first time we ever played with from first to last. We did a short run to get back from Warp Tour, and we were all so burnt out. Like it was like right after Sonny had left their band, and we were just burnt out from Warp Tour. We barely like spoke. And
Oh
just
man.
like playing, and then we saw them again at a different festival, and we were just like best buds. I'm like, dude, we were so fried, like we were just like sleeping, playing these shows, and going home.
Yeah, I mean that's an insane schedule, and like so you play at a random time every day.
Mm.
How far in advance do you get like the next day?
That no, you get it that morning, every
That
fucking morning.
so you have
Your
no
tour,
idea until that
your
day.
tour manager goes to pick up your water and your like rider stuff, and then they tell you when you're gonna play. It's
Yeah.
just their policy of making sure nobody can just come for a band and leave. They want you to experience all these new bands, and that's the
Right.
point of Warped Tour. So that's the way they
Yeah.
did it.
That is really cool though.
Yeah.
Rough on the bands for sure,
Oh
but
yeah, but it definitely it was its own thing for sure.
yeah.
And then like after hours, it was really fun. Uh, that there were certain bands that would like do like a barbecue or they have bartending and stuff. Everybody just running around being wild. And
Right.
I know like one year we had the Gypsy Queen, which is Oliver Peck and was it Keith? It was a tattoo shop and a fucking trailer that way you could go back and get tattooed, and it was blessed. Like,
Fuck yeah.
yep.
What's the most fun tour tattoo that you have?
The most fun. Uh, I don't know about. Oh, actually, no. This is an easy one. I have on my leg. It says "Lives Ruined,"
Yeah.
and it's full names of people that I was like, if you get Dennis Lee Ruin My Life tattooed on you, I will add your full name. And you can get it anywhere you want. You can get it covered up afterwards. I don't give a shit. And then every time when like my beloved and I like decide to get biblical and I drop my pants, there'll be a fucking list of names right there. And it's right there. Like,
That's so funny.
it's ridiculous.
How many names are on it now?
There's like, baby, there's fucking names. I don't even remember who it is. There's a shit ton. It goes down to my knee. It starts like at the top of my thigh and it goes down to my knee.
Holy
shit. It's absurd. My merch girl, Amanda, was like the last one to get it. And I remember her dad was like super pissed. And she's like, no. Like, and I had to show him like her name, like at the list. He's like, all right, he's got it on there. It's just this. The rule is like if we do a full tour together and you get the tattoo, I will add your name to the list. So
that's great. That's such a great idea.
Some memories.
Mine is on my right thigh. Fox from See You Next Tuesday, their vocalist, did it right when he started tattooing, and we were in like staying at someone's house in I think Idaho, this tiny house, and in the kitchen. He's like, I finally got like the proper soap I need, so we're gonna do tattoos tonight. He was brand new at it, but me and our drummer got one, and it's a beer mug and a cigarette with smoke coming out of it. It says, "Who gives a shit?"
That's amazing. That is amazing.
So I think that's the only tour tattoo I got. But,
I've got. I mean, my knuckles. So I can get them over here. Say Southern.
Oh fuck yeah!
Barbecue.
Oh, dude, that's amazing.
It's just I remember people ask like, "What are your hands say?" And I tell them, they're like, "Seriously?" Like, yeah, I thought it was funny at the time. I still got the Buffalo Club on my hand. My beer stays here, even though
Buffalo.
I drink.
Yes.
And so I got my left hand with that, and then the hometown hero on this side, old Smoking Joe. Like,
fuck yeah!
Dumb as just. My body is covered in dumb tattoos, and I hate it when people get tattoos covered up. They're like, it's so awful. I'm like, I know, it's great. Like, that's like the treasure. But now I've gotten, tattooed by like fantastic tattoo artists, and they're right next door to like bullshit tattoos I have. Just keep it all.
Yeah, I'm in a conundrum because I don't want to cover that one up, but I also have like a piece on my leg I'd like to finish all the way up, and I kind of have to. So I'm like, shit, do I just keep it in there around all this nice new stuff?
No, you get it photocopied and you put it somewhere else on your body. Okay, you transplant it to still honor its legacy.
I sent Fox a picture of it, and he goes, "Oh God, like that's so embarrassing. Please let me redo it." And I was like, "No, but that's the answer then." Yeah,
it's a treasure now. That's amazing. You need to put wherever he's working now. You need to write a fucking Yelp review and leave that as the picture. It's like, he did great work on me. Check it out.
He owns his own shop now. He's killing it.
Fantastic.
Shout out to Fox.
Yeah.
So that Buffalo game, Heavy Lolo taught us that when we toured with them.
There you
first
go.
Time.
God, I remember that. I remember playing with them at Dirt Fest, and you guys were on that. I guess before your time, but I remember playing Dirt Fest. And
it might have been. We played one with me, so it might have been.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
That's crazy. I completely forgot about that. Someone told me too after that podcast. Was like, you should have brought up Buffalo, and that's an amazing tattoo.
Oh yeah,
your left hand.
Buffalo Club, because we did Buffalo Club, and then Fear Before the March of Flames added Bison with. So now, because everybody got too good, you're just drinking your left hand, and nobody got.
Explain it to people who don't know what Buffalo
so
is.
The Buffalo Club is the greatest and purest drinking game that ever existed. All you do is drink in your left hand. That's it. You can only drink alcohol in your left hand. You get into finer points of dual wielding, whether that's okay, like that's fine as long as you never put the left one down and drink out of the right one. Like there's a lot of technicalities, but if you drink out of your right hand, you get caught by another Buffalo member. They call Buffalo, and you have to chug your drink, and that's it. Or if you refuse to chug your drink, then you get a Buffalo kick, which was something we did, where you go back to back and lock arms, and they fucking like with their heels kick your heels open, and then fucking kick their heel up and kick you in the nuts, and it's fucking terrible. So that's the gist of it. That's the spirit of the game.
What's the Bison upgrade?
So Tuesdays and Thursdays it switches to Bison, so it jumps hands. So it goes to right, and like you'll be sitting around on like Monday night at midnight. Like we had like alarms on our phone because people have been out of the bar and forget, and it would like hit midnight and it's Bison. So everyone's like fucking Bison, just like chugging fucking like it was so over the top, and we're really serious about it for a really long time. And of course, like I was like the fucking ringleader of this fucking drunk shit. And so now like I've still got the buffalo tattoo. I want to add root above the beer because I've been sober so long, so my root beer stays here. But the legacy carries on. They still honor the Buffalo Club and the Alesana.
That's great. Drink responsibly, kids.
That's right. Listen, I'm down to party as much as the next guy. But if you're drinking a lot, why don't you take a little break, take a week off. And if that's a problem, you might not be driving anymore. And you might want to get it checked out. That's the best advice. It's so funny because like when I stopped drinking, everybody was like Jesus Christ, like if Dennis can do it, fucking anybody can do it. I'm like, that's not a great sign.
Yeah,
but
like,
then,
damn it,
I'd have friends around the country. I'd go see like after I'd been sober for a while, like quietly asked, like, so like how did you go about it? And I was like, okay, like here's exactly how I did it. Like if you like I would say like take a couple weeks off, and if it's a problem, like because I had to go like check into fucking detox, and like I hadn't drank like an hour like. I mean, by the time I got checked in, like 6-9 hours, I was still blowing like fucking 3 times the legal limit.
Holy
they had
shit.
like a wristband on me, like a fall warning, and like it was fucking wild. But
wow. Did you have physical withdrawals?
Oh yeah, like they give you medicine for it. I was like fucking shaking and shit. Like it was fucking it. And that's one of the things. Like it, especially as a touring musician, you have to master the art of changing gears from being on tour to being home, because that's what the issue is. Like you go home, you don't have that thrill of being in front of crowds and like partying all the time, so you're just trying to keep the fucking party going, and it just doesn't work at home. Like that's not what home is.
Yeah, other people like we have real jobs.
You need to have your identity outside of the band and everything, and it'll get you in a lot of trouble. Like I know dudes who have fucked up their relationships because they're messing around with girls online, still trying to get that validation from like that they would get on tour. I'm like, you just have to be okay with not having that, and that needs to be a different you on tour. But yeah, like dude, I was dating my now wife that I've known for 20 years, and she was finally like, I'm calling his mom, and like because nobody like really knew what was going on, and like he's either gonna leave me, or it's really gonna help him, and blah blah blah. And my mom came, and I'm like a fucking like drunk mess, and just like, all right, I'll go check in, and that was it. That was like the thing I needed. So we've been sober for a long time, and thank God I have been, man, because I got like a kid now and stuff. I was like, dude, we had some. She was born at 23 weeks and spent a long time in the hospital, 9 months in the NICU. Oh. And if I was still drinking, I would not have been able to survive that.
Well, congrats, man. 9 years. That's
Thank
awesome.
you. Yeah, man.
So switching gears, yes, you also played Knotfest in 2016 in Mexico. Yeah, what the fuck was that like?
Badass. I got to meet fucking Jim Root and all the Slipnot boys, and I was like right next to Black Dahlia Murder, and it's so funny too. So every time, Black Dahlia Murder is probably my favorite metal band. Like I just like, and I've always said I don't know if I would say they're the best metal band, but if you took what I thought metal should be and turned it into a band, you would get the Black Dahlia Murder. Yes. It's just like real like, fantasy based. Like they're all just kind of like fucking nerdy metal dudes. All the music videos are hilariously bad. Like it's fantastic.
It's perfect.
And every time I interact with them, I get horribly embarrassed by someone. And like it's just like it's one of those like don't meet your heroes. And it's not because they're not nice guys. It's because every time like I met them when they played in North Carolina, and their merch guy was this guy named Lisp that I knew from tour. He was Bayside's merch guy, and like we knew each other. We were homies because we both had lisps. And so he fucking grabs me and grabs Brandon, like, and he's like, "This guy knows every word you ever wrote." And that's how I'm like, "Hi," like. And then like it's super awkward, but my brother-in-law is there with me, and by like the end of the show, like my brother-in-law is back in there like smoking fucking weed with everybody, and I'm just like super awkward. And like then we played Knotfest. We were right next to him, and I was like, "Oh, cool," trying to be fucking cool. And then like I'm taking a fucking nap, and I remember like I wake up to my booking agent like shaking me. He's like, "Guess who I got here?" And Disturbed is playing in the background. I look up at his playing. I'm just like half asleep. I'm like, "Oh, hi," and then they're just like standing there, and I'm like, I'm a fan. Like I was like, and then that night, like everybody fucking went out to drink with them as after I quit drinking, and like they're the greatest guys. I'm like, I fucking sure they are. Like, I'm sure it's great. It's just like, gosh, like things like that, but not best was sick. It was,
Yeah.
and it's such a big crowd. And I remember my favorite moment was there was like a VIP, like elevated kind of like platform on stilts that we could go up to, and people who paid a certain amount of money. And there was like one kid, he was probably like 14, 15, like standing at the edge. And we're like looking out, watching bands, and some chick gets up on her boyfriend's shoulders, rips her fucking top off, and then like just dumps beer all over her 17. These kids like, I was like, yeah, there you go, brother. Like, and we're watching Slayer, and it was like the best. All it was pyro. It was just giant upside down crosses made of gouts of flame.
Holy shit.
My two of my guitars, who are the pop punk kids, and I guess hadn't listened to a lot of Slayer, and they're like, wow, that guitarist is really fast. I'm like, yeah, it's Slayer. Like, that is the generic, like, this is heavy as fuck, dude.
Yeah.
And it was just a great time, man.
That's amazing. How were the dudes in Slipknot? Did you get to meet most of them, or?
A couple of them, and they were very, very nice. Somebody was in catering. I think my guitarist's wife was in catering next to Marilyn Manson, and it was fucking awesome. He was fantastic, and it was as a vocalist, it was just so fucking crazy to watch because his control over the vibe was like, he was not walking pandering to the crowd. He would walk off stage and leave everyone in dead silence for multiple minutes, and then come back and start a song when he felt, and it was just so jarring. And like, I am not one of those vocalists who says like, everybody looks beautiful, like you're my favorite town. Like, I hate pandering. Like, I'm usually talking shit if I have to talk. I love shit because we try to set it up so it's a little bit more theatrical, and I love shows where I don't fucking talk at all until before we come out for an encore. So getting to watch him was amazing. Like, because it's just so fucking weird, and like, what, but he's crazy. I mean, it's Marilyn Manson, and he's like walking over to the side to like one of the LD guys, like more fucking fog, motherfucker, fucking up. It's just like going crazy. And then finally he's like, and get these fuckers out of here. So we all get kicked off stage, but it was hell of a performance. And then, Slipnot. It's just mind boggling.
That's amazing. Like, that Manson, that's a man who knows what he wants. Like,
dude, yeah, you could say anything you want about Marilyn Manson, but like, it's just iconic, absolutely iconic. And his presence was just so larger than life. And then watching him, like, he went down like towards like the crowd had kind of a barricade that had the catwalk barricade that went pretty deep, and he went down, did his last song, walked past the stage, immediately into an SUV and left. Just boom.
Wow.
Just shot out of there. I was like, damn, that's Marilyn Manson, bro. He killed it.
That's fucking badass.
Fucking killed it.
Yeah, to like have a complete like vibe shift when you get on the stage, I'd love that. And it's not easy to do.
No.
Yeah, to be able to come up and just like the whole mood of the place changes, like whether it's lighting or just your presence or how you interact with the crowd. Like, I love that shit. That's how everyone should like aspire for that.
I agree, and I'm a very big one about like, especially like I grew up just working class North Carolina. Like, when people spend their fucking money, and especially on a fucking weeknight, come out to see your show, like, you better have something. You better go up there and fucking tear it up. And like, if you show up there like goddamn bucket hat and gym shorts or some shit, like, you just like, I get so fucking mad. I'm like, you put on the rock star costume and you fucking go up there and you do it because that's what they paid for, and that's what you fucking signed up for. So I'm just like, I expect you as a performer. And not everybody agrees with that, and that's fine. But that's definitely like when I go on tour, I bring like what I wear in my real life, which is just like, shorts and fucking Crocs but I have like the outfit I put on for meet and greet, which is like the rock star cowboy boots and the set about. I'm like, that's what these kids paid for, and like, they'll get it, and I'm here to deliver that. Like, that's my job. So
that's great. I just got my first pair of cowboy boots. I'm so
love it. I used to rock them all the fucking time, and they were like the cheesiest truck stop like flame cowboy boots. And whatever company stopped making them, and I found a company that made a green and silver, like with silver flames, called Old Gringo. And they normally it's only like female boots, but they had the men's version of this, and I fucking love them. There's nothing more rock and roll than like just this stupid cowboy boots, skinny jeans, like the studded belt with like a grenade belt buckle. Like I love it. Like that's and because I'm just like that, still that early 2000s scene kid. Like in my mind, I remember the first time I saw Between the Bear and Me, and like when they were just on their first album, and Tommy Rogers gets up there and he like skinny as a rail, and he had the belt with the fucking little shitty like pistol belt buckle. And I was just like, this is the fucking coolest, like just going bananas. And I was like, that's the look. That's it.
Yeah. So, maybe I'll wear my boots on stage for one of our shows this summer.
It's dangerous. It is very dangerous.
I'm afraid because I have my quad cortex now. The buttons are close together, so I'm going to be missing. I got to practice.
It's the water. So I used to wear boots on stage, but I sweat so much, and like water would get sprayed. And I went to do a scream once, and like I literally just went parallel to the stage.
Oh yeah,
and then like fucking landed on my fucking face. You can get them resold with like Vibram grippy like soles, which is sick. And that's a good thing. If you take care of the boots, like you can get them recobbled over and over. We got a great cobbler in Winston. All right, Wyatt and Sons takes care of my boots, and they'll live forever. You can just keep doing it. I've had it done once on my current set of boots, and it's fantastic. You got to take care of it. But on stage, it's a dangerous. Skate shoes,
some grip tape or something on there.
Yeah, you gotta get the skate shoes and just stay glued to the stage.
Yeah, I pretty much live in Vans, so
that's it. Yeah, it's the Vans. But no, when I'm at home, dude, I got what the fuck are those shoes called? The giant cushion, the Hokas. I don't think I'm saying it right there. I think it's Haka.
I don't know.
We got the Hokas that are like, I saw like nurses at the hospital wear them constantly, and then I saw a server at like a local breakfast joint here in town, and I finally asked her because they're like $200. I'm like, is it worth it? She's like, every fucking penny. I was like, all right. And they are the most comfortable shoes, because especially like messing around printing t-shirts and stuff like that, it's concrete floor, or like it'll beat you up, dude. And my back was hurting. I got those things, and gotta spend the money on those shoes, man.
I'm the guy who talks shit on Crocs, but I know I would love them.
Dude, I laughed so hard when I started wearing Crocs, because like I was one of the dudes in the band Vampires Everywhere. Their drummer Jesse was into Crocs, and I asked him about it, and he's like, "You've got to try them." And I was laughing because like I was like looking at them at the store, and I tell my wife, I feel like I'm like thinking about doing heroin, where like I'm so scared I'm gonna like this, and it's gonna fucking change everything, and it fucking did. I tried them all. Like, these are so incredibly practical, especially for tour, because they're like perfect for jumping out of the van, slipping them on, and then you got to load gear. You flip the stupid strap, and they're like locked onto your feet and everything, and they're amazing. Like, and now I've got like all the stupid little things. Like, my daughter loves Spider-Man, so I got little Spider-Man shit all over my fucking Crocs. I walk in somewhere, I look ridiculous. Like, I don't give a shit, dude. It's that, but like my home life, like I do not give a fuck.
Yeah, I was big on flip-flops back in the day, and they're probably a huge upgrade from that.
Oh yeah, the rainbows. Everybody rocking them rainbows back in the day. That was the shit.
I used to get the $5 Old Navy ones. They had every color.
There you go. I know Old Navy sells black now. It's just like they used to never sell anything in black, but they've really changed their tune. But I'm sure that's because every time I go into a fucking mall, it's like dystopian. So it's just
it is now. I don't like going in malls,
dude. Now I'm rolling in there with a toddler to go to Build-A-Bear, and it's like the vibe is sketch. It is like and it's funny too. Like, I did watch like some program on, in certain places they're changing malls into like micro housing, which like literally these like barrel apartments that's like a one person, like doesn't even have, like has like a mini fridge and like a hot plate sort of thing. But there's like a housing crisis, and there's no one fucking goes to the mall, so they're trying to like solve it. I'm like, at least they're trying something, because you're right, it's weird as shit at the mall now, which is crazy, because
I used to spend all my time there as a teenager.
All my time, and especially touring musician. That used to be, you show up to the town early, you go to the mall, you've got your CD and a CD player, you're like stopping any kid that looks goth, and be like, check this band, like this is us, like you can either buy the CD or like just come, we're playing in town tonight, until you got kicked out by security guards. And that's like literally how you did it.
Yeah.
And it's just lost. That's not how people interact anymore.
Do you remember the first time you heard an Alesana song like in the wild?
Yes.
Like in a mall or something?
Yes.
Like, holy shit.
No, it wasn't the mall. It was me at home going to get a smoothie. And I used to have this Honda Ruckus scooter that I loved. So I'm like rolling it on this scooter. I'm trying to park it. And this dude, I guess, like had like a Mustang or some cool car and like stopped right in front of me and looked at me to like snarkily like look and then crank his fucking stereo up. And it's one of my songs. It was one of my fucking songs. I'm like, dude, you piece of shit. Like, my fans are dicks. I'm like, you just tried to like cool guy me with my like.
That is one of the most amazing stories I've ever heard.
It was fantastic. That's not like the first time I really got recognized in public too was at a Best Buy, and I'm looking at CDs and I just fucking nobody's around, so I fucking fart. It's like horrible fucking fart, and I'm like, all right, and now away. I'm like, Dennis, and I'm like, what? And there's an Alesana fan, and he has to like walk in there, and I'm like losing my fucking mind. And like, this is how it happens, like in my own fucking stench.
He walks through your fart to say hi to you.
No, he stops and we're having a conversation like in my fucking like. I know he's supposed to, it was awful. And this is just how my life is, a series of these events. Like, it's just how I shamble through existence. So yeah, it was on par. It was on par.
Oh, that is such a fantastic story.
Nope.
Which of your records would you say is the most divisive among fans?
Probably A Place Where the Sun Is Silent. That was our record we did with Epitaph. That was the much moodier album, and it like artistically was the most fun. It's not as right down the middle kind of like post-hardcore screamo, whatever you want to call it. There's like less of like the screaming. It's more like, but it was like such a fun record to do because we had like choir parts where it was literally us in like a sanctuary mic'd up with a kids choir, and like that's how we did it. And then we went to like a glee club at a high school and like recorded that. Like, it was all like really like warm, and like it was a different kind of record. I'm really glad we did it. A lot of kids didn't like it, and I was very so about it as far as our records go until we did that tour for the Trilogy tour where I had to play it for a year, and I like just fell in love with it. Like, I realized doing it live like that, because we just didn't play it a lot live because kids really were very on the fence about it. But I ended up like absolutely like loving it way more after that.
That's great. I mean, you have to experiment too. If you like, you do the same thing every record, you get sick of it.
Yeah,
and
100%.
You should be making your music for you first, and then that will translate to people, right?
And that's the reality is like every time you do an album, and kids are like, like, oh, that's not like the real. I'm like you don't want, like, we're gonna write new music, and it's us. And like, you're not gonna like it if you're too attached to who you were when you heard our first album. Like, you don't want, like, you want that back, and we can't fucking give you that back. Like, we can't even do that. Yeah, we can't do that for you. Like, people grow, and like, it's fine if you like it or don't. Like, I don't know what to tell you, kid. Like, we're gonna write, and we at least have been very consistent that we didn't do any monster like genre jumps. I feel like there were definitely some bands, like, as like the scene morphed and changed, like, you hear every fucking record where they're trying to like chase the hype of the last one. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
Now we've been the same like shitty screamo bands since the beginning, so you either like it or you don't.
Yeah, there's like the bands that are kind of always at the top. Like, Bring Me the Horizon's great at that. They will do whatever the fuck they want. People come around, and then the next 5 years, everyone's trying to catch up and like chase what they did. It seems. And
he's definitely been a tastemaker since the old days.
I've been a fan of everything they've done for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're great.
I personally never, but if I was just not listening to that kind of music at that time period. But once again, my wife, who's likes much heavier shit, like, it loves it. Like, I thought they were fine.
Yeah, I think they've done a great job of like slowly shifting their sound to be more mainstream or whatever you want to call it. Like it didn't feel too forced.
Yeah, and my big thing is I like continuity in projects, and as long as like the vibe matches like a shift in branding and like the way all the art, and then you're like merch and everything. Like I think like a lot of bands miss that mark with continuity, and like I personally really appreciate it because it is all part of the same project, and especially like now, like I've been in the t-shirt world forever, and like I'm really happy that I get to print our own merch and like I handle all the designs, like, and it needs to be like, I don't give a shit like what kind of shirt you like in the band. Like you are like the kids, what are they looking for? Like they want to wear a band shirt, like they want to represent that, not your fucking inside joke or whatever the fuck it is you want to put on a t-shirt. Like it's not what it's about, So you got to be able to keep up with your fan base and what they want.
I'm also guilty too of like, I'll understand it and complain about it, but then I'll be like, I still want Deftones to just make another Around the Fur.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But that's why, there's that nostalgia is there and that record is there, and it's
yeah. It's tough because especially that those like whatever formative years of your life that everyone kind of gets stuck in and it's hard to get out of, like that the teens to the early 20s, it's like the way music hit you then was so magical compared to when you're older and jaded, and
you'll never get it back, and you'll always be listening to those same bands forever.
Yeah.
And like it is funny like that. But I'm the same way. Like I mean, I still like I'm listening to like fucking Azazel and fucking like these are like real specific like North Carolina like metalcore bands that no one's fucking heard of, but like I love it.
I've heard that name, but I've never listened to him.
Oh my god, Paul Genet, he's just the straight edge tank, dude. It was like all vegan straight edge where I was from, like growing up. And I was in like high school. I was like the one kid that like smoked. Like I didn't drink until I joined Alesana, like in the college. But like I was a smoker, but none of the straight edge kids like beat the fuck out of me because I was friends with like someone's big brother who was in like a straight edge crew. So
did you know
it was like that?
Did you know our singer Will Jackson from Mount Airy?
Oh, is he from Mount Airy?
Yeah, not our current singer. Our current singer was the original singer on the EP, but Will was the singer after him for everything up until now. And
oh shit!
We just did a singer swap actually.
Okay.
Will.
I have to look.
Yeah,
I'm sure you probably. I'm sure I would recognize him. Yeah, that's everybody in that.
He like just everyone you're mentioning. I know he was kind of around everybody and probably have a lot of the same mutual friends.
Yeah, they just had. They had a benefit show. A fellow named John Rivera who ran like I'm gonna mess it up. Punk Rock Archives, or is it like every fucking show that happened in like North Carolina? He had like the flyers, like in a database and shit going back to like the dawn of time. And it was amazing. He passed away. So they did a benefit show for his like wife and his kids. And like Prayer for Cleansing played it. Who else got in there? Azazel played. Catharsis, which is like this fucking crazy old, like, it's fantastic. And Undying, which is like the first show I ever went to was to see Undying. And I geeked out. And like, it's so funny. Because I just had like a bunch of dental work done right before it. So I'm like, I can't get anywhere near anything. And like, I'm in the fucking front row, like fucking like screaming. Like I got way too into it, but it was fantastic. And just seeing like so many other dudes from like back in the day where like, they're like, I see this dude that I used to like see fucking destroying people in the pit. And he's like, how's your daughter? I've been following along. And I'm like, great. This is awesome. And as you can't get those feelings back,
Right. Have you done a lot of other projects outside of?
I've literally done one, and it's so funny too because it was me and Kyle Odell from Bludgeon from back in the day.
Okay, yeah, I remember that.
We did like, so he was doing his band, The Failure Anthem, which is more of like a radio rock kind of thing. And I guess he had a bunch of stuff from the cutting room floor for that band that was just way too heavy. And my friend Justin Ryak, who is a great videographer and has done some music videos for Alesana, like put us together. He's like, I think you guys really dig each other and do a project. So we put out one song under the band name Child of the Jackal. And it's just me and a metalcore band. It's pretty much poor man's Black Dahlia Murder. But it was fantastic. And like we put out the one song and like kids went bananas about it. And then, I tell Kyle, like, I'm happy to do anything else. And he's like, all right, let's see if I get time, like with his real band. And he just never found time. So I've got one song called Chthonian Descent by Child of Jackal. It's on like Spotify and shit, like iTunes, and it's just the one. Up. And then I met a kid with a t-shirt, a Child of the Jackal t-shirt, because I did like a logo for it.
Oh, really?
I'm like, I did not print these fucking t-shirts. Like, how? But it's good. I've talked about doing like another, but like if I do a project, it's gonna be just exactly like the bands I liked in high school. So it won't be for everyone, but it'll be, I don't want it overproduced. I just want a shitty metalcore band that's just super fun, just like the ancient ways,
Hell yeah! So if you could collab with anyone on that, who would be?
God Almighty. Probably. I mean, I'd probably just dust off all the old warriors from back in the day, like hit up some dudes from, like, what is his name? The Guitars of Undying. Is it David? He's in but he's like so legit. He's like ultra vegan, like bordering eco-terrorism, and he's in like some killer projects. He's in a band called Sect, SECT, and North Carolina, and he's just such a good shredder. But I fucking love, like, I used to print all the Earth Crisis merch when I was working at Holy Mountain, and like I have to, like, just grew up with vegan straight edge guys, and like I'm printing a t-shirt that's just like a dismembered cow, and it said like, what the fuck does it say? It says, don't let your outrage end where your selfishness begins. And I'm just like, fuck yeah, dude. Firestorm, bitch. Like, I love that shit. So just some old goons from that era would be a blast. But once again, like, you can't rope those dudes into a project that's not for the cause. Like, you're not just making bullshit music, man. We're changing the world. And I do love, like, when Catharsis played that benefit show, and like their merch table was mostly just like pamphlets and zines, like about fucking like social issues. I'm like, this is the way it used to be, and it was real. They're not fucking around.
Yeah, like you said, there's like the people like that, and then there's like the nerds who make like the shit that like we make, and like, write about like Lord of the Rings and
exactly like werewolves and shit, like badass.
and then you have like the meathead like breakdown guys.
Yeah.
That's
what I remember.
I love it all.
I do too.
Its own way. Yeah.
Everyone's got their own vibe, and I remember touring with the Chariot, and they were billed under us, and it was really hard because that band is so fucking intense, and like their bass player Wolf was like a mascot. That was his real like life job outside of that, and so he would like jog before he went on stage to get his blood up, and like they'd hit the first chord and everyone launches off stage, and like they're like, everyone's like you guys should do like they're out there fighting for souls. Like, I'm here to have a good time and like rock and roll. Like, they're up there fighting for your soul, and like I cannot match that energy. Like, that's not in the cards.
No, like I can only get so angry.
I know, and it's so funny too, especially because like as I got older and like you play like amazing vocalists, but like they're hanging upside down from some shit. Everybody's side-eyeing you. I'm like, nope, don't think about it, bro. Like that ain't gonna fucking happen. Like, those days are over.
Shit. Yeah, that's a young man's game too.
That is a young man's game. I'm still. You can tell I'm fucking old because I still don't use a wireless mic. I refuse to. I've sworn against. I'm literally like looking at I've got like a 50-foot fucking mic cord and a fucking SM58, and that's what I use, and I will only ever fucking use that. I recently, in the last like 4 or 5 years, made the transition to in-ear monitors because I just realized like how much damage I was doing to my hearing, and now I got to
wear earplugs.
Oh no, and now I got a kid. And I'm like. And finally made the transition, so I'm like, all right, I'm using in-ears, like that's a responsible thing to do and everything, but like, nah, I'm not using a fucking wireless mic. Like,
it is infinitely cooler for a vocalist to have a cable. Like,
dude, the ancient ways. All right, if you can't do it with an SM58, and that's what I've had people try to get me to do mic endorsements. I'm like, nah, like my mic costs $100, and that is a fair deal, and it lasts. It's indestructible. I can always get a replacement part for it. And like. It's the war horse.
I mean,
It
that's
is
the
a
go-to
gold
mic.
standard.
Like, what else do you need?
Golden standard. Exactly. So I'm no frills. And but every time I see like a band that I liked from back in the day or something, like I think I was watching Glassjaw when they played a festival we did recently, and he had a fucking mic, like just asked like a mic cord. I was like, see, it's sick. It's the ancient ways. You can do stuff like you give up tricks. Like I used to have a thing where I like get up front. I think I tried this recently. They were not amused. Where like loop it around like a few kids like behind their necks in the front row, and then cinch it close, and then scream in everybody's face at the same time. But kids aren't that like touchy feely anymore. They were not fucking fans.
That's
but
awesome.
You get
Keep
all the
doing it though.
You get all the tricks. Yeah, that's it. Kids are wild though, man. We had fucking Denver. Like Denver have fantastic shows. You can't breathe because it's the altitude, but they're still great. But they had fucking front row, these two girls. This one girl's fucking just punching this other chick in the fucking face. And I'm like I'm like, yo, like you gotta stop. And she looks at me and she's like, she fucking bit me, and lifts her arm up and there's like blood. I'm like, what?
Oh my God.
I know security. I'm like, it was a small club. It's like Marquee Theater out there. That's like
I remember that.
Dude, and like, so we're all packed in there. And I was like, you gotta get security over here. Like, there's fucking blood and biting. And my merch girl filled in the rest of it because like they go off and they went out, and the one girl that did the biting is trying to like play the victim card apparently, and then finally they realize like this chick's fucking crazy, and then they're like, she's apparently like, well, the other girl's being like restrained, is like twerking at her, like being like fucking like, what the fuck is going on, y'all? Like, this is nuts.
Dude, you never know what's gonna happen at shows.
It's this chicks, dude. Some chick pulled a fucking knife in Raleigh when we were playing because they got in an argument because somebody was saving the spot in the front row forever, and then some other chick tried to bully up. A fucking knife got pulled. I'm like, y'all know how to act. Like, it's wild now.
Metal detectors, please.
Gotta do something. Don't be pulling blades out.
No.
Wild.
What's like the craziest thing ever you can think of that happened at a show like that?
The knife is way up there. We had a gig on that first time we went to Mexico, maybe the second time, but it was like a really strange, I believe it was in Guadalajara. It was a strange stage because it was like the setup for a band where you have the drummer to the side of the band. So it was a very narrow stage because it's just like a thing with music down there. And so we had to play like that with the drummer off to the side, everybody lined up. But there was like literally a like metal chain link fence between us and the crowd. Just because. And those kids started fucking scaling that fence, and it's getting like peeled back and shit. Like a zombie movie. We're like, at some point I had to get like rushed off stage, and they like get everybody fucking chill out again and stuff. And like, it was wild because we did like, went out there and signed for a minute, and it's like, you could only do it for so long because kids just start going fucking crazy. And this dude, like, some of them speak English. He's like, this is my girlfriend. Like, please kiss her. Like fucking, oh, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, no. But yeah,
please kiss her.
Yeah, exactly. That fucking to give you a bracelet. Like, remember me always. I'm like, of course. Like, thank you. But
now you're on a podcast.
Yeah, it's like America shit can never compare to like playing abroad because those kids are just they're not they don't get as much. So obviously they're fucking way wilder. So it's always stuff like that.
What's your favorite place to play overseas?
I love Germany. I really do. And it's just Germany. I'm a nerd in a history buff. There's castles, like a bunch of like old shit as far as like a cultural thing. But like, dude, anytime we go to Mexico, South America, and even we just came back from Bangkok and Indonesia. It was wild as fuck, dude. Like the kids are just, you can't ask for a better crowd.
Yeah.
And, like any of these, like love. I mean, we gotta show a ton of love for Mexico because our career really got launched based off our interaction with like Mexican fans. So
yeah,
and every time like I've played and like Mexico, like, and I love the wild venues we play because we played like Hard Rock Mexico City before, and I've also played a driving range on the top of a skyscraper. Because that was the thing where it's like all fenced in. And it's like the elevated platform where golfers would hit, and where the balls would be was the crowd, and we're up on the fucking platform. Like,
wow, where was
and
that?
you can like in Mexico City.
Sick.
And so you're looking off, and like Mexico City is like one of the largest land area cities in the world. So you're looking off from the top of this building, and it looks like all these cities in the distance and all the fucking smog. Like, it looks crazy. But
yeah,
it was a blast.
On top of a skyscraper. That's wild.
Just another wild one.
So are you guys working on any new material that people could expect soon, or what's the story there?
I mean, there's been stuff in the works for a long time, but if it happens, I'll be thrilled about it. I'm just not gonna keep telling people like it's about to happen, because the wheels move very slowly. Right. So right now, maybe, yeah. If not, well, we're a band of 20 years now, so we'll be playing concerts and festivals, and it's fun being able to do just like international stuff and festivals, to like go out there, and it's crazy just because of the length of time we've been a band now. And it's finally, because it used to be like not very cool if you were like into heavier bands to admit you liked fucking Alesana, and now it's just nobody gives a shit. So it's been a blast.
Right. Well, now you guys are OGs too, so fucking.
Oh yeah, I know. People think we're OG. I'm like, dude, like no way, man. Like, because I have my version of that too, you know. Right. And that was like, I loved back in the day, like you were talking about, going into a Hot Topic or CD store. You can listen to the album, look at the art, and I always look at the liner notes and see who they thanked. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, that's how you work your way to like Shadows Fall or something, and then they're thanking Fear Factory, and then they're thanking, like, and you keep going backwards. And that's kind of like how I went through metal until you find like, you know, Judas Priest and shit like that, and to like the old school stuff. So, but now more like these days, I've been streaming on Twitch, Sweaty Handshake. If you're watching this and you want to hang out and chat and just me bullshit, and I have guests from music and from tour and stuff like that I hang out with. Let's do that. Outside of that, you know, just running our web store or t-shirts. I'm rocking, dude. This is a bleach dye shirt that I did. So this is what we're selling at Welcome to Rockville. That's my
you guys will be there next week.
Yep. And I fucking physically bleach dyed these in my goddamn backyard. And I was like, we're up against such stiff competition at that merch table. Like, I just have to make ours look crazy. Right. So that people see it like, oh, so it's like literally just like a skull and snakes, and says Alesana, and like it's fucking bleach dyed. We got a tank top and a t-shirt.
Pick one up, kids. Yeah, so you have a few shows around that too, right?
Yep, we're playing 3 shows around that, I think. We're playing Pensacola, the festival, South Carolina. We're playing New Brookland Tavern. I'm trying to remember, is that Columbia? And
yes, because I just randomly watched one of my old bands play there. I was literally trying to figure out an old song and look at my hands.
It's not the same spot. I love it. We used to play New Brookland Tavern all the time. And somewhere else that I'm going to mess up. So I'm not gonna, it's on Georgia, edge of South Carolina. So it'll be fun, man. And those shows are just like whatever shows. Like, you can just, we're not doing meet and greets, just walk up. We're going to be there. Just come say hi.
Awesome. Hell yeah. Well, I'll let you get going, but before I go, I'm asking everyone who comes on. I have an official Riff Tacos playlist I started on Spotify.
Okay.
So I'm asking every guest to just suggest one song to be on it. So I have a collection of all different types of genres and tastes over the years. Yeah.
I'm definitely, so I've referenced Prayer for Cleansing a few times, but I think they're one of the most important North Carolina metal bands for like what we were as a city. So they have a song called Sonnet. That's the fucking song, dude.
Sonnet, Prayer for Cleansing.
Sonnet, Prayer for Cleansing. Put that on the list. It's an absolute banger.
Awesome. Fuck yeah,
yes,
dude.
Sir.
All right. Well, thank you so much, dude. It's been a blast.
Yeah, Paul, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, everybody follow him on Twitch. It was Sweaty Handshake, right?
Sweaty Handshake.
And then Denny Diablo on Instagram. And obviously the band IG is out there. Catch them at Welcome to Rockville next week and a handful of other shows. And we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. I hope we get to play together soon.
Yeah, that would be great, dude.
Yeah, brother.
All right. Thanks, guys.